Hey guys, it's T. Kyle, and today is another story time that you guys requested, and today I am going to be telling you the actual story about the time I was arrested. So this took place 10 years ago when I was just out of high school. It was the summer in between my senior year of high school and my first year away at college. In high school, I was a good kid. I worked 3 jobs. I worked every day after school. I didn't drink really. I think the first time I had a drink was like when I was 17. I didn't get in trouble. I was a responsible kid, but I was a little mischievous, I would say. Well, I still am. My friends and I used to love watching prank videos on YouTube. And so we would watch videos and then we would try and reenact them in real life. So that was like our thing to do because we didn't go out partying. We weren't doing drugs. We just pranked people. And so one of the pranks we used to, I'm not gonna say the other ones because people that watch this might know that I pranked them, but one of the pranks we used to do all the time, and this was definitely inspired by a YouTube video, was going around in our cars with super soakers and squirting people out of our windows that weren't expecting it, which sounds so bad in retrospect, but it was really funny. I apologize to any of you if you are watching this and you were like, oh my God, that was me. I apologize. I hope you can laugh about it now. But one of the things we used to do, so I grew up at the shore, Jersey Shore, and there's all these different beach towns, and some of them are party towns and some of them are not party towns. And Belmar was one of the big party towns. And so what we used to do is we would drive around and we would super soak the drunk people at the end of the night that were stumbling around because we hated them. I was a teenager, so obviously now looking back, I would be so pissed if a 17, 18-year-old shot me with a super soaker. But at the time it was funny because growing up in a shore town, it just the people came down and it's they took up all the parking spots. The police were just obnoxious as fuck in the summer. It just made the town gross. And so we thought let's prank these people because we wanted them out of our town. And so that's who we targeted. So one night, this was the night, there was this drunk bus. It was a van and all of these girls were getting out of it. And so we're and they're oh my God, what is that? And we accidentally got the driver because his window was down. So he got hit in the face with a stream of water. And this guy, in retrospect, thinking back, this guy actually caused more of a danger to people than we did, but whatever. So we drive away and this guy follows us. And when I say raging following us, he started running red lights. He was swerving behind us like a madman. And I'm holy shit, we have to lose him. He is driving like a maniac and he's just swerving. We're looking in the back and he's almost sideswiping these cars. So we get to the next town over and we're thinking we're in the clear. We're we got away with this, we're fine. And all of a sudden, from the back, from the front, we're on this bridge and it was just and we're in the middle and they just corner us. It is not 1 cop car. It is not 2 cop cars. It is 4 cop cars and people on those motorbikes, and they all swarm us on this bridge. And it's those little spotlights that they have? So we're in my friend's car. I'm in the passenger seat. My friend was driving. And it's spotlight, all over us. The entire car is lit up. They come up to us and she approached the car we were, we had a nuclear bomb in the back of the car. She was creeping up behind the car. So I had my window down and I'm sitting there and let me just paint the scene for you. I had a super soaker that was probably 4 feet long, and attached to the super soaker, in the bottom of it, there was those tubes, and I was wearing a backpack that had 3 gallons of water on it. So I had one of those mega super soakers that was like, you know, you ran out of water, it's just attached to a backpack, like blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting there holding this thing and I'm like, with a backpack. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck am I gonna say if they ask me to get out? Like, this is so ridiculous. So we're sitting there and the woman comes up to the side of the car, my side of the car, and she's on her like walkie and she's shining the flashlight, and like we had extra water guns in the back because like, I'm telling you, this was a production. We had extra water bottles, extra water guns, we had a backup supply, we brought food. Like this was like what we did in high school. So she comes up and she's on her mic and she goes, "I have an arsenal of water weaponry in the back seat." And I busted out laughing and I bust out laughing because it was just like so serious, and like the way that she said it, it made it seem like we were like terrorists, like an arsenal of water weapon. It's like, bitch, it's a super soaker. Just call it a super soaker. Like what? She comes up to the window and she's like, "Oh, you think that's funny?" And I was like, they're just super soakers. They're not weapons. And she's like, "Get out of the car." And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I get out of the car and I was wearing jeans and the water from my super soaker had spilled all over my jeans. So it looked like I peed my pants, like hardcore, like huge wet circle on my lap. And she's like, "You think it's funny to go around shooting people in the face with bleach?" And I was like, excuse me? So apparently the driver of the car that we accidentally got him wet, he thought that we had bleach in these water guns, and that's why he called the police. So he's telling the guy that, you know, he's blinded because there's bleach in these water guns, and they're like, what the fuck? So I'm standing there and I'm like, I realize that I can like prove this wrong, and I point to my crotch and I'm like, I know it looks like I peed my pants, but if there was bleach in these water guns, my jeans would be ruined. Like, it's just water. Like, do you want, I was like, I'll drink it out of the backpack. And they were not having any of this. Like, they were so mad. So they take us back to the station. Like, we literally, there's like no getting out of this at this point. Because the driver said that he wanted to press charges. So they have to hold us in like a cell until this guy figures out what the fuck he wants to do. So I'm like, oh my fucking God, we are so fucked. Like, this is the end of the road for our pranking. So 2 cops come in to interrogate us in this room that they've locked us into. It was like an older cop and then like a rookie cop. You could tell he was like young. And the older cop is like, "So you think this is funny? You think it's funny to go around shooting people in the face with water guns while they're driving?" And I was like, yeah. So I say to him, I'm like, look, to be honest, like, we meant no one harm. We were pranking people. We know that you guys hate all the bennies that come down here in the summer just as much as we do. And that's really all we were doing. We were just targeting drunk people that come down and ruin our town. Like, that's really it. We were just trying to shoot drunk people. And so the younger cop starts laughing. And then the older cop is like, "Get out," like kicks the guy out. And I'm just like, see, like, it is kind of funny. Like, there's no bleach in it. Then he tells us that the guy driving still hasn't decided if he wants to press charges. He's like filing a police report. So they have to hold us in a cell until the guy decides what he wants to do. We finally got out around like 5:30 in the morning. The guy decided that he wasn't gonna press charges, and I'm like, yeah, because there was no fucking bleach in the water gun. Like, what are you gonna charge us with? Like, so instead, they gave us the most wicked fine I have ever received in my entire life. They charged us with disorderly in public and disorderly conduct, I think. Like, there was 2 separate. So I have a record still in Belmar for disorderly conduct and disorderly, like, public, what the fuck was it called? It was like public, causing a public disruption, like whatever. So it was like $1,000, like $1,200 or something. They told us we could go to court to fight it, and I was just like, I have no case. Like, I literally confessed to doing it, and they're not gonna let me off. Also, while the guy was talking to us, I asked him if we could get mugshots. And he didn't really find that funny. And that's probably why they gave us such a high fine, but sorry, Ellen. I know that I kept opening my mouth and that probably didn't help. So I paid this fine and it literally was like my entire summer savings that I had worked so hard to get. And was it worth it? Yeah, it really was. Honestly, thinking back, it was worth every fucking, like when I tell you guys, this shit was so funny. I'm sorry. I am sorry if I ruined anyone's makeup, ruined anyone's hair, ruined anyone's night, but it is what it is. We were young, we were bored. That's what we did in high school. We pranked everyone. And I'm not gonna give you all the other pranks we used to do because I'll expose myself, but there are so many other pranks that we used to do and it was so, oh my God, it was so fun. I loved every second of it. So that is a story about how I got arrested. I would love to hear about you guys. Have any of you gotten arrested? Because my story is a little ridiculous. I wish it was something, well, no, I don't wish it. Like, I'm not a bad person. Like, why would else would I get arrested? Like, I wish I still had that Super Soaker. It was so good, you guys. Like, that, like, 4-foot one with the backpack, like, oh my God. It had such a good nozzle on it, and, like, it would just soak a bitch. Like, it was so good, and, oh, I loved being a teen. Those are the days. That's all for this video, and if you guys like this story, let me know by leaving a thumbs up below. And have you been arrested yourself? Like, if you've been arrested, let me know in the, well, unless it's like really scandalous, don't write it in the comments below, but if it's something funny, like my story, let me know in the comments below and I will be replying to all your comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next week with a new video. Bye guys.